This is like Christmas, opening up your box and seeing all that comes with it. Let's go through the accessories that come with this machine. Now, one other thing, that buttonhole foot, that rolls around in this box, so make sure you get a hold of that before you lose it. Okay, buttonhole foot, yes, and then what we're going to do is just go through all the accessories here that we have, and then we'll just go ahead and put them into the accessory box. This actually fits onto the back part of the machine, so it's really easy to access them. Now, if you like to stay a little bit more organized, Husqvarna Viking does have this as an optional accessory. It's a little tray for your feet, and then that just sits on top and kind of helps them stay nice and organized. You can reach them a little bit easier. So this does not come with the machine, but one of the few things that a lot of people end up purchasing. Okay, so for the feet and accessories, we have, okay, so your regular A foot is on the machine when it comes to you, and your machine will always tell you what foot to use. There's also a B foot. The B foot and A foot differ because the B foot has this little cutout. This is going to be called for when doing a lot of decorative stitches that are a lot heavier, and they need room for the finished stitching to flow out the back side. So B foot. C foot is a buttonhole foot as well. Looks just like the automatic one that you actually plug in and set for length. This one will let you do any length that you need. We'll do both those feet in our buttonhole video. Our J foot is an overlock foot, has a nice little pin in there, so when you're stitching over the edge of the fabric, that your stitches don't kind of curl that fabric, keeps it nice and flat. If you have an overlock machine or serger, that is great, but there's times where you don't need to rethread the serger to get the result, and all you have to do is reach for the J foot. The D foot is a blind hem foot. Again, we're going to do videos on all these feet so you can see them in action. A D foot has kind of two levels to it and helps make the perfect blind hem. And then our zipper foot, letter E. It allows you to get close to the zipper on the left or right side depending on how you attach it. And then of course you can move the needle positions really easy. Your embroidery foot that comes with this machine is your R foot, or you can use this for free motion quilting as well. The rest are just kind of some basic tools to have by. Your bobbins, those are specific Husqvarna Viking bobbins. You're going to notice there's an H on the top. The H is always up when we go to wind a bobbin, and also when we drop it in, so you never do it wrong. Awesome. Brushes for cleaning, we'll get into all the maintenance. Seam ripper, just take this, put it on the end, and now you have an extra handle while you're using it. Screwdriver, we're going to need that to take our needle in and out. You have a little pack of needles, universal needles and stretch needles, and then also some thread, little spool discs. So if you're working with thread that is standing up, along with all the spool caps here, you can put these on, and then the spool won't spin away. Kind of adds a little resistance to the end. So you have a couple of those. You can also put that on the vertical one there as well. So I'm going to just take these off. Honestly, I don't use them too much. I tend to have most of my spools actually laid down, and then it's not much of a problem. Notice you do have different sizes of spool caps, so depending on the size of spool, like a smaller one, then we're going to put a smaller spool cap on. We don't need a gigantic one that the thread has to hop over. Now there's these little tiny stickers in here, and on this kind of gray side, those are smooth. And you can make any of your feet a non-stick foot by peeling these and putting them on the underneath side. Great for working on leathers or vinyls. You have some spool thread nets, actually. If you ever have a thread spool that's kind of, the thread's just kind of floating off the spool, it's kind of puddles and not handling very nicely, you can kind of wrap it. It'll still come off the spool nice, but it will be contained before it gets all crazy. So a couple thread nets. Honestly, these days with the thread spools, I have not had to use these much at all. And then we do have a height compensation tool. This is called a multi-purpose tool, excuse me. Has different heights, will get us up over jeans hems. It also will let us sew a shank of thread when sewing a button on. It will separate the button and the fabric, leaving a little bit of distance so the button's not smushed onto the fabric. And then also, see that little tiny hole right there? That's to get your needle in and out. It's like a little holder, and then your hands don't have to be all the way in there. So if you have trouble holding your needle, you have a tool that'll do it for you. And look, it even has that little flat side at the top, so your needle stays straight and does not spin while you're trying to insert it. Last thing here we have is the USB stick. that comes with the machine for your embroidery. So that we'll go into once we get into the embroidery part of this machine. All right. Oh, here's the stick. So a little cord and stick all together there. All right. Next we're going to go into the getting the machine all threaded up. How do you wind a bobbin properly? Using the needle threader, taking care of your machine. Those videos all come up next.